Just record the next 15 minutes.
Right, here we go.
Things out.
Here I'm with Beck and Ken. Beck's a particularly good-looking young girl. Very good genetics. Ken thinks so. He agrees with me. We're just finding out what God means and why these two are serious about following Jesus.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
So we were both super blessed to grow up in generations of really strong Christian families, that it wasn't just like a cultural thing that we all just sat in church on a Sunday, but each generation really sought after God and followed him, and that looked different ways for each different couple. Like our grandparents lived a very different life than our parents, and now us. We're very different than our parents, but it all stemmed from really strong relationships with Jesus, really personal relationships. So that was like a massive foundation for both of us, I guess.
Yeah, and I think for me, especially the last couple of years, that's been, well, the whole process of growing up and in a Christian house, in a Christian family, I think for me, like it's always been there, it's always been something that I've known and believed, but especially in the last couple of years, I think I've discovered more about who Jesus is and who God is, and that he especially just really wants a personal relationship with all of us. And so growing up, I just accepted what I knew and what the Bible said, but I didn't always understand the depth of what the relationship that Jesus wants with us. So I've loved getting to know him better in the last couple of years, especially.
That's good. And tell me, how did you two meet?
Or a bit over a year ago, we both went on a trip to Uganda with my father. There was only 4 of us on the trip. We knew of each other beforehand, but didn't really roll in the same circles until we went to Uganda, which we didn't go on the trip to get married. I'd like to point that out. We went. I went over to work with Mum and Mildred out of the school and to do some Sunday school activities and help out wherever I could. And Ken got wrangled in because he's a builder to help Dad. And he happened to look like Jesus at the time with glorious long hair and an awesome beard. And we came back dating, and then 10 months later we got married. So that was a pretty good trip.
That's good. And tell me what's next on the adventure.
Well, we've been
we've
been looking at going overseas again, a little bit different part of the world, possibly in the Middle East somewhere. We're looking at going to a conference in Israel where there's other believers who are just getting together to talk about what God's doing in the Middle East and how he's growing his church there. And so we're excited to meet some of our brothers and sisters over there and sync up with what God's doing in that part of the world.
And why in the world would you want to do that? Like, what's motivating that?
It's very counter. What's the word? Counter instinct. I don't know if that's a word. We'll make it a word. It's not a massive logical decision since we're newly married and both have really stable, really good jobs here. Both of our families happen to live here, so we're pretty cushy and comfy at the moment. But for us, I think we started talking about this before we were even engaged. It was a really big thing on my heart to, especially with kids that come from really hard backgrounds or war-torn places or trauma situations. I think there is just absolutely no hope in those situations but Jesus. And so I just have always really wanted to go and love those kids and teach them about Jesus so they have hope. And so we weren't always stuck in the Middle East, but we looked at a few different places, and as soon as we found this particular place, it just really clicked, and like our hearts were just burning. It was just made sense to us. I guess that we are all one church. The church over there and the church here are all part of the same church. It's not lucky us, we're in the West, and too bad for them because that's where they're born, but we're all one, so if we can help in any capacity, then we really want to go do that. So we have no idea what it'll look like or what the next step will be, but that's where a big step of faith comes in. Yeah.
Sounds good. And tell me, like, what difference does it make having Jesus in your life today or this week?
For me, I think it gives me purpose, that I know what this life's about. I'm not just stuck here wondering what we're doing here and what's going on, but I know that God has made us for a purpose. He's created everything that's around us. He's created us to have a relationship with Him, and for me, every day, that it makes a difference to me that I know that He loves me, and I know that I have a reason to be.
Yeah. It, I think, really calms me down. It gives me kind of a rock I can peg all the truth to. So if I start off the day already just talking with God and praying with Him to keep me calm in my job and good at what I do, and know that there's a greater purpose behind it, that I need to love the kids I'm working with despite the situations they might bring into school or how they're treating me and stuff like that, because there's more at stake than just their education or whether they'll pass my class this year, but that their hearts really matter, and He loves them more than I can ever fathom, even the really annoying ones, which always sticks with you, I think, and that there's a reason behind why we love people, and He loves them so much more. So I think if it's good enough for Him, then it should be good enough for us.
That's good. And no one's watching this, so you can tell me the truth. Who's your favourite parent?
Well, you did take us both to Uganda. That's a pretty big tick in your corner.
It's done. Very good.